I was taking everything from prescription meds to drugs to alcohol, and like trying to get on something every day pretty much when I was in France. So like when I met him, I was like, fuck, I need to sort my life out. Can you help me?
Hello and welcome to the RugbyPass Offload podcast with me, Mark Edwards, and joined as always with the boys, Max Leaf and Ryan Wilson. Later on the show, we'll have Queensland Reds and Australia legend James O'Connor on with us, which is part of the reason that we are up at a ridiculous hour. But firstly, lads, how are you both? Any weekend shenanigans?
Not too much. We had our players and partners dinner. Got a bit loose. Got a little bit loose, but
did you win any awards?
No, that wasn't the awards dinner. It was just the partners, just a bit of a.
Oh, is this
the awards? The awards dinner was on the Tuesday.
How'd you go? Nothing.
No.
Rory Darge got all the medals, did he?
No, he would have got like 5 of them but it just got stupid. So they were just like, listen, we just got
big
something to someone else.
Big season for him.
Mate, he's gonna be outstanding. But no, it was all good. It was all good.
Right, really, actually pains me to say it. The photos of you, which came out from the awards dinner, you did have. It really, really annoys me. This a bit of a sort of James Bond vibe about you in the pits, and that's coming from someone who you shouldn't trust grown men with long hair. But you did look pretty dapper.
You looked straight Goodfellas.
You didn't think he looked slick?
No, yeah, he did look slick, but more like Italian mafia slick, not like a James Bond slick.
I thought he looked great.
I should have.
No, he looked good.
I should have
looked like a guy who's going to give you an offer you can't refuse. See,
my name's Slick Tony. I'll do a dirty one. Come on here. It was good. It was good fun. It was good fun.
Nice.
Did it get messy?
Tuesday
did, tend to, don't they?
Saturday's one we had a few, but we've got a big quarter final coming up, so we had to be sensible. But yeah, it's it was good send off for some of the boys, some bloody good clubmen that have been here for a while, like Rob Harley, 260 games for the club.
Oh wow, Jesus!
Yeah, who's leaving? So he got up and did his weird rendition of the Candy Shop, which I made him do.
I look into the candy shop.
Yeah, it got weird. So it was a nice evening. You, Maxie, you been up to much?
It was the lady's birthday, so I took her to the Epicurean, which is just a fancy eatery in the Mendips. Ooh. Very picturesque. Yeah, it was nice. Nice day. Other than that, Sunday was pretty chill, but not much otherwise.
You're smashing some martial arts, haven't you, Maxie boy?
Oh yeah, mate. I've been dabbling. I've been rolling with some big fellas down in Bedminster. Been very good. But the first time I was doing it, I got so hypoxic. I was dying. You know when you're in the gi and it was quite hot in there, they turn the aircon off. And you're just not very good at expending your energy efficiently, and you're just drowning, mate. And people are trying to rip your head off on top of that. You're like, my God, this is nutty. But mate, it's so addictive. Because it's like pairing like something quite cerebral with like physicality. It's good crack. It is really good fun.
The Bedminster BJJ.
The Bedminster the BBJJ. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, the BBB.
Pedro Bessa, mate. It was unreal. I recommend everyone do it.
Nah, I'm all right, thanks. Mate, my shoulders wouldn't last 2 minutes in there.
Yeah, to be fair, the shoulders, that is an issue. Yeah. You good shoulders.
Do people focus on your shoulders in the game, Ryan? I feel like you really throw them under the bus a lot.
Mate, I've had like 4 shoulder operations. Someone got my arm behind my back in that BJJ. I'm just gone. I can't afford for these puppies to come out anymore because they've been latterjade. So
are they latterjade? Yeah, but they won't come out then.
No, exactly.
Oh, right, yeah.
Serious forces.
The latterjade is some serious bit of kit. That just turns you into like, a shoulder warrior. Yeah. You've just
What is that, boys?
Basically, they attach the shoulders to the bicep tendon. Isn't that right?
They take your something called a coracoid, I think it is, out of here, like bone, and they put it across the front of your socket. Because what happened when I dislocated my...
Oh, I thought they used the bicep tendon. My bad.
I dislocated my shoulder, and as it popped out, it fractured not the socket. So then basically, and they went in to look, and there was no labrum left. And then when my humerus went back in, it then fractured my humerus as well. So it's basically like they screw it in.
It was a weekend of European rugby finals. Nowhere else to really start than with the fact that Munster man Ronan O'Gara conjured up a coaching masterclass to inspire La Rochelle to a last scarf 24-21 Heineken Champions Cup final victory over the juggernaut and four-time champions Leinster. Boys, what a result.
Unbelievable.
I'm just so happy for him. Like, how good. I don't think Leinster were that sloppy. They were leading for most of the game.
Did I call La Rochelle?
Didn't we both? Did I call Leinster?
You definitely said Leinster.
Oh, fair enough.
100% said Leinster.
I don't know if you called La Rochelle, though.
I'm going to make up that I said La Rochelle.
But I'm so stoked they won. You look at the game, right? Oh my God, how Leinster didn't pull away more in the first half. Like La Rochelle, so many penalties, and people going, how did they get away with it? I mean, what was it? Was it 7? I can't remember. 7 or 9 penalty shots that Sexton had a goal, and obviously it was almost like a test match for them. They were just knocking over the points, whereas La Rochelle, 3 tries. Yeah, it just goes to show it's not all about, because you just felt like the amount of penalties they were giving away. I don't know why. Just the score never really got away from La Rochelle. It was always, they were still clinging on. And I thought Leinster would have punished them a bit more, but La Rochelle just went at their breakdown, didn't they? Just went for it, just throwing everything. Yeah, and also out the back, they were anticipating that interplay so well. Like every secondary release. So every time that they'd hit that forward pods up, Leinster would hit that forward pod, and they're hitting up Sexton at the back. Mate, their second release, they were just anticipating that all game. It was really impressive. They were just desperate to get into Sexton.
What's the second row where he did the little trip?
It wasn't Skelton, was it? No, I remember. I don't know what his name was, but I know what you're talking about now. I thought he was going to get a bigger. It was going to be way worse.
Yeah, like it's what there's. I think there's 15 minutes to go. La Rochelle are just about getting in, and then he just sticks his foot out and trips up the second row for La Rochelle, and you're like, oh no, what have you done? But have you done that? It's easily done. You know, you just think, just stick a foot out, trip him over.
I don't think that.
I get it.
Maybe you do.
I get it. Oh, go on.
Thomas Laveau.
Thomas Laveau, yeah, with his little trip up. Oh, God, he must have been absolutely bricking it on the sideline thinking, what have I done? What have I done? But it just made La Rochelle stronger. I think they just went and
Skelton had only played like 15 minutes of rugby up till then, bro, for like months.
In a whole month, yeah.
Bro, he was unbelievable. I'm telling you, he's like the Shaq O'Neal of rugby, mate. He's just so freakishly athletic for how big he is. Mate, he was unbelievable. And Raymond Rule, Dylan Lades, they were, mate. And I thought like how hard they were playing at the game line, like the way they were just spreading it, like gunslinging. You know how like Leinster were just so flowy and deep out the back, whereas, mate, La Rochelle are so hard at the line. Like they were throwing a lot of balls into touch, but you could see what they were trying to do. They were just trying to hit it up hard at the game line. The big Winnie Antonio and that, getting the hard yards and then just spread it fast. Ehigh West out the back looking deadly.
Fair play to him. So let's move on to the celebrations. Oh my. No, and before you ask, it doesn't beat my bus tour that I had in Glasgow. Before you ask, it's it did. It definitely beat the Glasgow bus tour. Oh my God, that port looks ridiculous. Have you been there before, Max?
No, I've not been there, mate.
I've been there, and there was like 3 people walking around.
Yeah.
To suddenly see it like that. Holy hecker.
Yeah, the only thing that reminds me of is like Toulon and its pomp, you know, back in the day. Like Toulon got like that every now and again. But mate, that's magical. That's the French rugby in it. That's just so good.
I actually look at it, and this is looking at it the wrong way, but look at the logistics. How do you get the bus out of there? Like what happens when it's right in there and there are thousands of people around it? And how are you getting out of there? And what happens to the players on the top of the bus? Like, what actually happens?
Sorry, you You worried about? So you're like, there's like 35,000 people on the streets of like a 70,000 person town, and you're like, ooh, bus looks gridlocked. That.
But yeah, how are they going to get out? How are they going to get out? And what about people just diving into the port? Just like, yeah, I'm throwing myself in.
Yeah, I was loving that. They were just like, fuck it, lads. I can't move. I'm swimming round.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. No, I do worry about the how that bus got out there. But yeah, for a little town, that was mental. Some celebrations from them. So fair play to them. It was good to see. And there was some funny old memes of Rog and Sexton, like floating about.
I didn't see them.
Oh, mate, go and have a little look for them. They're hilarious.
God bless.
Right. You guys are obviously playing Leinster this weekend in the URC quarters. Don't give away your intricate game plan, but are you going to follow like a similar blueprint to how La Rochelle managed to kind of dismantle the Leinster machine?
Yeah, we've obviously looked at bits of that. We beat them last game of the season, I think, last year. So we had a little bit look at that. And like, listen, when they get quick ball, they're bloody good. Like, they're just on the front foot. You cannot stop them. So that's why I think La Rochelle gave away so many penalties, because they were obviously trying to push it too much. There was so many offsides. But like Max said, that's because they were just trying to fly up, shut everything off, like not give them anything. So it almost worked. Like, they gave away a lot of penalties. I know a lot of people are asking how they didn't get a yellow card earlier from all the pens. I think it was something like 9 pens in the first.
Yeah, it was getting free, wasn't it?
So you just got to stop them. You just got to slow that down. And I mean, the way we play rugby, we'll be all right with our attack side of things, but it's trying to stop them getting the front foot. But we'll be all right. Listen, we're going to see them at some point, like I said, whether it's quarters, semi, or final. But might as well get them now than you get a home semi. So let's see how we go.
Hey, looking forward to next week. We can be celebrating the win.
We have to win as well, because it's my wedding anniversary and Bex's birthday on Sunday, so I can't be having one of those Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thingy bobs.
Anything
for the sake
planned?
of my marriage, I need to win.
Is that the captain's talk at the start? Boys, we've all got to do this, because honestly, it's our wedding anniversary. Let's go from a brilliant final to a relatively shit one. Let's be honest, Max. Were you disappointed by how one-sided the Challenge Cup final victory for Lyon was over the Galacticos of Toulon? Let's not forget.
It was shocking, wasn't it? Like, what the devil happened there? I reckon they just had their final in the semi. They got weird for the Saris, the multi-time champs, and then they thought they were just going to roll Lyon, who would battled their way through, almost losing to Glasgow and Wasps. And sorry about that, right? But
Hold on a minute, but just a little note there.
Oh no, they were class. They played out
to the champs. We lost to the champs of
exactly.
The 26th best team, 26th best team. And
you should have won against the champs. 26th best team. Yeah, in the great words of Nick White.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great. But you got to give credit where it's due. Like Lyon, a lot of their players stood up and looked class. Big Joel, again, we were speaking about him recently. He was outstanding in D, especially. He got caught up in that one pick and go. But mate, that's a tough.
But not just that. He missed the tackle before that, then got back to the line late because he was a bit lazy, and he's let him score. But anyway,
I like that. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know. I watch him, and it was some of the times like. What happened? Oh, when the knockdown came and they got the penalty try.
I just saw him fuck up the one try on the pick and go.
Yeah, no. Sorry, but I'm saying the way he reacts. What is it, footballer? He was giving it the old going like that to the ref, running over, pointing at mate on the floor. Shit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Play coming in a bit.
No, like the theatrics. It's gamemanship. It's gamemanship.
But this isn't. This was getting too much, almost on the scene of like football. You know how they run to the ref.
Right. Okay. He's a young man, still a boy.
No,
but Tui Sova, flashbacks when it was looking very, very convincing, running with some serious violence in mind. I thought Charlie Nartai also.
Yeah.
Very
absolute shift.
Very good. And then Olive. But I thought Olivon played very well for Toulon. But yeah, it was a shame about the rest of the Galacticos not really standing up, so to speak.
Right, just. I mean, I know you know this because you played in those games, but you did end up being edged out by the champions of Europe and the Challenge Cup champions, and you didn't lose by more than 8 points in any of the games against. You played 3 games against them, so you know,
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, there we go. But look, there was a talking point as well in that Challenge Cup final. Big thing about the 72nd, I think, minute ruck clear out by Eben Etzebeth on Iniashvili.
Oh, he was class, actually.
Yeah, he was good.
Mate, he was very good.
Oh, except for that try that...
yeah, the try. I was like this. I was like, no, buddy.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. But then he came through in the end anyway.
But
so.
yeah, sorry. Go on, Mark.
No, because, I mean, he's going to be someone, right? I mean, he's only, 19? And he's, it's always good to
19.
see Georgia. Yeah,
19.
We're talking about Iniashvili, right?
And tackling Eben Etzebeth.
He dumped Eben, and then Eben lost his head and tried to slot him. He's not even over the ball, mate. He's just cleaned him. What are your thoughts on that, Rye? Tell me, what's your viewpoint? That's a naughty boy step, that one.
Well, that's right. Okay, here we go. Right, ready? I agree, because I think you can't really see it from the camera angles, but I think he's whacked shoulder to head.
Yes.
So it's a yellow card. He should be.
He's not even on his feet.
Yeah, but hold on. The problem is sometimes with these new laws that if the refs aren't reffing, that tackler's got to roll away straight away.
Yes.
And then they get in the way. I don't know. It probably wasn't a trend during the game, but if you sometimes then you have to deal with that yourself and get them out of the way. If they're on the wrong side, like if he has stood up, you can belt him. Like even if he's just getting up, you can belt him. But I agree, you could see it was head loss and it was reckless, and he did hit him in the head. So probably. By the way, how did he stay on the field?
Yeah, fair. That Georgian skull, mate.
He was Sparko, wasn't he?
I'm saying he's on his feet later. He's in a lot of trouble, mate. That's pretty unacceptable. I think there was a head gone moment where he's been dump tackled by a winger.
Yeah.
And then he's tried to get his own back, and he's gone red. He's gone to the dark side there.
Yeah, no. I agree. I think it wasn't right. Like I just sometimes think refs get annoyed with the refs have to ref those players out of the way sometimes. This was probably a different instance because he didn't have time to even get back to his feet.
Yeah,
or
like this on the side.
Just getting maimed, but it's reckless from our old mate Eben.
Delighted to be joined by the man, the star, the Queensland Red and Australia utility all-round legend, James O'Connor. Welcome to the show. James, how are things?
Thanks for having me, guys. I've been watching your content for a long time. So it's good to be on here. Doing well. I'm in rehab actually at the moment. So going to be watching my team take on the Crusaders in 2 days' time. So that's pretty tough. But apart from that, life's good.
Could be worse places than sat in your pool house on your estate, eh?
Oh, I've actually been mowing some lawns today, getting some hay for the alpacas, doing some stuff like that. So my life's good.
Alpaca farmer, you reckon then?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hobby at the moment. I'm not gonna lie, I've got no idea what's going on with them. They were here when we moved in, so
how good. The furthest I went was chickens. I got 4 chickens in lockdown, and fucking only 2 of them lasted. So you're doing a better job than me, mate.
So you're shearing these alpacas. So you moved into a property with alpacas, and you just love them now.
Yeah, I love them. They're the custodians of the land, They're like little guard dogs. They make this little shrill sound when anything comes on the land. When I send my dog out there, he's all bark, no bite. It's a bit like me, but I love them. They're good. You can share them up, sell their wool. We don't do any of that. They're just for show, but apparently that's what I hear you do with them.
Maxie, you'd love what James is creating at the moment. You've bought a bit of a retreat, haven't you, mate?
I have. So that's over the border. Got 120 acres in the rainforest down there. So we're building on there. That's not quite finished yet, but this is just where I'm living in Brisbane. A couple of acres, some water running at the back of the property, a little bit of land. It's serenity.
Woosah.
Oh my God. That's madness. Rabs, I would have thought you'd be straight into the valleys. Now you're in the actual valleys.
Wait, honestly, I never thought I'd be out this far.
Yeah, I know. How good.
Life changes.
Oh, Russell Brand over there.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I'm so happy to hear it. You were a maniac when I first met you. So many years ago.
Oh, he's still a maniac, mate.
Still a maniac.
Still in there.
He's still locked up.
Got to take control of it.
You just need a bad person like me to try and squeeze it out of you.
Barbarian
strip.
This bloke on Barbarians was a punish. Jesus. I think half the Wallabies boys were like, what's going on? What do they do over there?
So wait, how much
rugby played?
How far are you from training then? So you're in the bush, are you, right now?
It takes me about 40 minutes to get into the club. So yeah, not too far.
Not too bad. Oh
Yeah. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's good.
So what's the plan? You're gonna make it like a retreat, like a yoga retreat?
So that's that's not where I live in Brisbane. That's just over the border, like just the bottom of the Gold Coast, the hinterland there. So the top of New South Wales.
Oh, with the badger.
Yeah, the badger does some similar stuff, but not with the badger.
He's been around there, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, sick. That sounds fantastic.
It's a lifestyle choice, for sure.
Oh, epic.
We'll let Mark do the official.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm just here for the ride. Just want to hear all about the alpacas. Jay, you got to know Ryan during the infamous sort of Barbarians week for the match that never was. Run us through some of the memories. We've had Ryan's take on it.
Oh, well, I think his take would be a little bit different to mine because I was prepping, getting ready for the game. I had a night out early in the week, but I missed quite a few of the good times, I think. Got there on the last night as well, which was good fun. Ryan took the rest of the boys under his wing and showed us what was what. That was pleasant. But yeah, to be fair, it was a good little Barbars trip. It was we found a good balance. We were sending Ryan into battle quite a few times to get some wins with Steve Berwick and his dad, Dave Rennie. So that was always good fun.
You've got to remember, these boys were being coached by Dave, so they were all a little bit on edge. They're like, can we? Can't we? Like, you know what I mean? So I was sort of the instigator. No, boys, it'll be fine. Like, and trying to smooth it over the next morning, telling Renz it was only me that went out.
It was only you.
Shit.
It was good fun. We got out. We got to see a bit of the scenery as well, and we had the usual sort of shows on at dinner, and yeah, it was good fun. It was a good group of guys. Too bad we didn't get to play. I think one of the funniest ones was everyone started just going down. I remember saying to Dwayne, like, we thought Dwayne was going to be out as well, and I was like, bro, give me your COVID test. Let me do it for you, because if you're out, I'm out. I'm not going to be tackling these big Samoan boys if you're not on the field, because we had already lost all our South Africans, half of our big pack. I would have had Ryan running the ball off set piece. That would have been incredible.
I was there to facilitate a line out. That was it.
I'm just playing, man.
Oh, bless me. I think they were looking at me, most of the boys going, who's this bloke then? What's wrong with him? Why are his shoulders like that?
Oh, the old trout shoulders up the
I managed to rope you into one last night, didn't I, at the end?
You did. It was good fun the last night. I was feeling it for a few days after, that's for sure.
Played the guilt card. Told you that poor old Rob sat in the room absolutely gutted.
The funny thing is, he did play the guilt card well. So I was like, oh, go, because we had a look like straight away once the game was called off, and we decided that we weren't going to turn up on the bus and make some noise. We went straight to the bar, had a feed, and got into it. And then we started pulling up stumps pretty early, and then Ryan pulled the card and was like, mate, you can't be doing this. Like, he's retiring. What's going on? You're setting a bad example for Barbars tours around the world. we grabbed a few of the guys and made a night of it. It was good fun.
Yeah, that was.
James, be honest, right? First impressions when it came to Ryan. And did you know who Ryan was before the game?
Well, I thought he was a team manager at first. I knew who Ryan was. I knew him for sure. Well, I didn't know him. Didn't know him personally. I knew him as a footy player. And yeah, Dave had big raps on him, especially saying he's coming in. He's going to be captain of the group. Blah blah blah. I was like, this bloke better be a good man. And he lived up to expectation. He did. He held the group together pretty well. So it was a pleasure. To enjoy another trip together, man.
They just want shit on me. See, they want you to say, he was boring. He just hung around with the Japanese boys, never saw anyone else.
Who was the best value? Who's the best value on the trip, James?
Best value out of the Japanese boys, BD plays for Suntory, the inside center. He was a good man. And then so we had quite a few of the Wallabies guys on the trip. A few of the Safa boys like Malcolm Marks and Dwayne, and then Ryan and old Rob Carney. That was sort of the crew. That they were the guys who were causing trouble, and because we actually tried to make a game plan this Barbarians tour. Like, we had some moves. We had about 4 different set pieces. We had quite a few things, and half the time I'm trying to run it the next morning, and there's about just 6 blokes just detracting from the group. And I was looking at Ryan like, bro, you're the captain. You're meant to be out.
Yeah, but that's Ren's all over it. He loves a bit of structure. And the boys are like, hold on a minute. Like Dwayne and that were like, whoa, what are we doing? What are we actually training? And it was the day where he nearly lost his head when we were in the budgie smugglers.
That was good. That was actually good fun. He was
hanging.
I reckon he was about that close to losing it. And then he flicked it over pretty well, covered it up pretty well.
Because he blew up and I went, oh, fuck off, friends. And he it was like, oh, I can see a few of the Aussie boys like,
oh shit, it's going down. We haven't seen this before.
But it sent him the right way, so we were all right.
James, you became the youngest ever debutant in Super Rugby when you were just 17 for Western Force. What are your memories of that incredible occasion?
Oh, it's the time of my life over in Perth. I remember my first 4 years is still my fondest. Had a group, had a house on the beach, as big, sort of like, it was pretty much a dump. Like, they were wanting to knock it down, but they didn't have plan. The guy who owned the house didn't have approval yet to knock it down. So we were living in it for pretty much like $50 a week each. But it was this huge mansion on the beach with 5 of my best mates, and only 2 of the guys had driver's license. So the rest of us just had little scooters that we'd cruise around on. Ended up having like a little scooter game where we'd pull in hair and playing Rugby 08 most nights for dinner, which was probably just the local pizza joint on the corner. Or we ended up getting a little deal with Nando's, which worked out a pretty good treat. Half a chicken and chips most nights. So, but yeah, it was a fun time. And just obviously coming in at 17, like I did not think I was going to be playing. So I was just literally just running around trying to learn everything off the guys. And we had a really good team actually when I first started at the Force. I was just cruising around, and we got to training. And then, as you know, when you're sort of 17 to 20, you still have a lot of energy to burn. So I wouldn't be doing it now, but we were down at the beach in between training sessions, then out for lunch, then back for training, and out to the movies that night, or possibly one of the uni bars. And it was the time of my life. And then when I got the call up to play my first game, it was incredible. And then sort of the journey in playing sort of style, started from there. So I finished school, went to schoolies, and then I flew over to Perth pretty much like 2 weeks after, pretty much like a month after I finished school. I flew over there and started, playing and training, because our season starts in like January, whereas, your season's sort of like July. So I finished school, flew straight over there and started training. And within I think about 3 months, I started playing. So it was all happened pretty quick.
Fucking hell, it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, that is mad.
Yeah, it is.
Like 17 is pretty crazy playing club rugby. Yeah, like that would never happen over here. Eh?
It took me a couple months to like transition to like men's footy. Like I was still, like, it wasn't the skill level that got me. It was just like I'd step someone and they'd grab me and be able to tackle me, and I was like, what's going on? Like normally I'd like brush this off, so I had to get in the gym and work a little bit harder, and like it took a few months. But even then, like when I used to play, I was just playing off pure fumes. So it was just pure just like instincts. I could get the ball and I'd be like, how many people can I step? I would go nowhere sometimes, but I'd just go. Whereas a little bit different now. Yeah, quite a bit different now.
Weren't people just trying to absolutely melt the kid, basically?
Yeah, well, so I've actually got pretty much. Especially like when you're at training, and I'm that guy. Like I didn't know like the rules. Like you can't sort of like there's a bit of a gentleman's at training, and you don't step props. And so one of the time, like Richard Brown, like I was doing contact with him, and I stepped him probably 7 times in a row. I stepped him once. He's like, "Fuck, go again." Stepped him again, and then the boys, like everyone sort of gets around and like, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" And I'm still like, I'm smiling and laughing. Then I realized that the coaches are watching, and he's starting to get like, I don't know if you guys remember Richard Brown, but he was a nutter. Like when he went, and he saw red. And it was like, I remember it was like the 5th go where I was like, no, bro, I'm not playing anymore. Like I could see he's starting to get like real angry. But yeah, still got him another 2 times, and then they called it up. And then a similar thing happened like that at training with one of our props, Boof. I stepped him twice at training, and one of the coaches had a go at him. He called me after. He's like, if you ever bloody step me, like, didn't use the word bloody, but if you ever do that to me again at training, when we have contact, I'm going to rip your head off. And I was like, okay, so there's sort of rules around this. Better tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, but see, again, that wouldn't happen nowadays, would it? Like do you know what I mean? The props aren't allowed to phone the young boys and say, stop stepping us.
Oh no, you're right. You wouldn't be able to get away. Nah, some guys would, some old schoolers, like some Dutchmen would definitely be like, hey, you step me again, like I'm going to rip your bloody head off. Or like but stepping Brownie and then stepping Brownie's a bit different though, because he's a premier athlete, like he's a decent number 8. So that's why he was probably losing his mind a bit. He's like, what the fuck is going on, Cad?
It's just like, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely changed for sure. But I feel like we don't do the same amount of like one-on-ones and one-on-one contact at training as well. I don't know what it's like over. Well, I do know what it's like over there, but both the clubs I was at weren't. We didn't do as much sort of one-on-one footwork tracking. Full-on contact at training. It was sort of more drill stuff, and then in contact it was more like 3-on-2s and stuff like that. So there isn't really the opportunity nowadays to do that.
It's a lot more structure driven, isn't it? Now I find like a lot more like phases, like maps and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's like going through the game plan. It's like, okay, what starters we're going to do this week? I'm going to go. This is a new 7-man. This is a new 5-man. It's about getting the detail down, and then the rest of the time you're either doing defensive sort of structures or you're playing your phase shape attack. So
yeah, just robots. We're just becoming robots, pal. I agree. Sad times. Yeah. Sad times.
Well, I think the biggest thing for that is the GPS as well. I reckon we got to get rid of the GPS stuff. So much emphasis put on. Well, there's just so much emphasis put on like this guy's got great numbers or this is that. I'm like, yeah, but he's bloody sprinting everywhere because he doesn't know what he's doing. Whereas someone else is really good at cheating. Like that's a skill of the game is knowing where the ball's going to be. And it's like I remember one of the coaches saying to me like, "You're not getting enough speed," and I'm like. Is that a problem that I can use less energy to get somewhere? Like, why is that an issue?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You can read the game. That's like read the game. But people like sprint to somewhere and realize actually I don't need to be there, and then start running back the other way. So you're wasting energy. Us old gits. We read the game a bit better, can't we? We just know that actually I'll just walk towards there because I don't need to be there.
I'll just get on a trot. I can see he's going to come up. He still gets to go there. So I've got about 10 seconds. I'll be able to see if we'll be able to buy a bit of time there.
I'm with you. Get rid of the GPS.
I do love the sports scientists though. I love those boys in the analysis. They're so funny. Just glasses on, telling us all our data. Oh, he got through this many efforts. And you're just talking about like the savages of the team. Yeah. Great times. Great chats.
Like, it definitely is a balance. Like you want to have, repeat efforts and
I'm with you
meters but when it takes away from the art of the game, like I could spend so much more time doing some more catch and pass, and I reckon that's sort of half the time that your attack breaks down is someone's passed it and go to hand, or they weren't like maneuverable enough to get that away, or to see the space there, or manipulate this defender. That's what I'll be doing anyhow.
anything else that you sort of at that age when you were, right in your teenage years that you had to learn very, very, very quickly when you first started into professional sport?
I think probably social media as well. That was probably one of the biggest ones. You can't just say what you think.
Fuck, it sucks.
You got to put a bit of a filter on it, bro.
Yeah, self-censorship's a thing, man. Otherwise, you get cancelled out in this bitch. It's very sad times. Everyone's so offended by everything.
By everything.
Yeah, especially like they can't see exactly how you said it, or it might have been a joke or whatnot. But that was sort of one thing. I remember got in trouble quite a few times about being outspoken. But even just going back through, I remember I deleted my Twitter probably like a year and a half ago, and reading some of my old stuff, I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, God, I was bogan as fuck.
Proper bogan.
Like, everything that came your way, you deserved if you're going to write this.
I wish we had some of those tweets.
Oh, please don't. Don't go deep. I didn't have time to delete them all. It was getting... they make it hard for you to delete stuff, that's for sure.
Right.
Right, let's go to you moved to the Rebels in 2012. A bit of an ill-fated one-season stay. You're playing alongside the likes of Kurtley, Beale, and Danny Cipriani. Give us a bit of flavour of the sort of crack you lads had and the havoc you caused on the Smash together as the Rat Pack.
Yeah, it was an interesting time because I learned a lot footy-wise, but I was injured for quite a lot of it. So we were sort of, out and about quite a bit. At the start, like that's one of the tweets I wish I could delete. Like I remember when we first got there, it was me, KB and Danny, and we tweeted, at the time it was Miami Heat had the big three. So we tweeted like a photo of us with our shirts off at the beach, like big three, and fights did not go down well. Boys, they're like, who are these kids? Yeah, it was that was the start of the downfall, I reckon. Melbourne is it's a different place to sort of where I sort of grew up, because I grew up on the Gold Coast on the beaches, then went to Perth on the beaches again. Then Melbourne, it's sort of all about the scene. It's all about sort of Chapel Street, and it was a very different flavour. It's not so much what you're doing during the day; it's where you're going at night. So that didn't quite mould as well. With my footy, put it that way. I spent 2 years there. I had one good season. My last season there was pretty good, but I was always sort of going to move on. I was actually planning on moving back to the Force, and then ended up at London Irish. So there's another story in that itself. But it was fun because we had myself, Danny, and Kurtley, and we all just sort of were blending, like vibing off each other. Some games we were on, some games we were well off. I think that was sort of where we were all at in our careers and sort of in our life, I guess, just sort of hot or cold. We all created a really good bond, like I guess a brotherhood. We all ended up pretty much living they all pretty much were living at my house. And one of the funniest ones is, so I had like it was a cool little house out. There was a small one just off Chapel Street, but the whole downstairs you wouldn't use, and there was two bedrooms down there. I remember one day, one of my missus' friends came over and was staying in the spare room, and she comes back upstairs and she's like, where am I meant to stay? I was like, in the spare room. And she's like, but someone's living in there. I walked downstairs and I just see all Danny's kit set up in the cupboards and bags all there. I call him and he's like, oh, I thought you wouldn't mind, bro. So
he was squatting. He was squatting there without you.
I did that, and that's the funny thing. I didn't even know he'd been living out of there for the last 2 weeks or whatever. We all became really tight brothers, and I learned a lot from him footy wise. He's got an interesting rugby brain, that's for sure. What he sees on the field, and he taught me quite a bit. So it was great to play with him and Kurtley in that group, and it was also great to leave. Put it that way.
Was it Buddy Franklin was around then as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, so we had some footy, like we had some AFL boys in our little Rat Pack as well. So there was Buddy Franklin, Sherrod Wellingham as well. Dustin Martin would float about too.
Oh Jesus!
So
that must have been
a couple of the leagueies as well. It was good fun. Like it was, put it that way, it was good fun.
With a capital F and 5 U's. How good.
Now I know why you don't do it very much anymore.
Yeah.
Kick the arse out of it, mate.
His liver is just done. He's got no liver left, bro. It's dust.
Well, I don't know if people, yeah. So when I went to when I moved to Sale, I really I stopped drinking for about a year and a half. But I remember when I stopped drinking, like I bloated out. Hey, so it was my liver just like pretty much crying, being like, they've abused me for a long time. Now it's So
oh my God, it was like withdrawal.
Yeah, I reckon.
Far out.
Yeah, just everything coming out. So I got pretty chubby actually. Like I was actually injured too, so I couldn't run or anything because I did my ankle. But I got up to remember on the scale one time joking with my brothers. Like I'm not a tall man.
We need to find.
I'll send you one, bro. Can't put it on air. That'd be. Don't do that. But I hit the big $1. Hit 100 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Far out. That is Big Papa Jimmy.
Yeah, man. I was a big boy. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I blew out like that, I was like, because I was working with someone like sorting my life out. And I remember talking to him like, bro, what have you done to me here? And he's like, what do you think? You've been abusing yourself for 6 years. Like, you got to go. Like, this is just part of the process. Is you got to get all the toxins out. And he's like, just trust it. You'll be good. And I did. And it probably was only about 2 months I was like that. So, but it just came on. I remember it just shocked me. I was like, whoa, like, I'm a big boy here.
Are you alluding to SaviourWorld?
Yeah, Ollie from SaviourWorld, yeah.
Yeah, so Carl Sinclair sees him. So I play with Carl at the moment at Bristol. And mate, he's very mysterious about it all. But so what's your experience of that? Was that like really, really?
Oh, it was life changing for me, yeah.
Why did you get onto him to start with, Jim?
Well, I was in a dark place. Like I was spiraling. I was taking everything from prescription meds to drugs to alcohol, and like trying to get on something every day pretty much when I was in France. So like when I met him, I was like fuck, I need to sort my life out. Like, can you help me? So that's how we sort of got in touch, and it was definitely a journey. I credit the work I did with him to getting back to Oz and definitely kickstarting sort of where I am now. Like obviously I've done my own sort of work since I've been back in Australia, and I've seen other people and advanced my life in other ways, but he definitely helped me get started. That's for sure.
That's fantastic. How good? How fucking good.
So that was whilst you were at Toulon, you started seeing him?
No, I started seeing him when I moved to Sale, probably like 6 months into my gig with Sale. Like, because I thought I was going to retire with my ankle. I said if I got one more ankle injury, I'd retire, and then I busted it again. And then I just happened to meet him probably like 3 weeks before I injured my ankle again. And then so we were chatting, and instead of retiring, I started working with him because I was just weak because of my body was just broken. Because I wasn't training, I wasn't eating right, wasn't sleeping right. More like mentally, I wasn't in a good place at all. So yeah, energetically, I don't know how I was playing professional footy. Honestly, I don't know how I was doing it. So yeah, when I met him, we just started from scratch and just changed so many of my habits, like physically on my eating habits. Like started fasting, eating a lot more meat. Just started doing a lot of different things, even like different training sessions. Like it's very like simple stuff, but it's all sort of calculated in terms of just moving your body, and what he calls it is getting your vibration up. So you don't have, also you're not mentally stuck in these sort of dark places. So yeah, we worked hard together for about a year and a half. So yeah, now here I am for the alpaca farm.
I was going to ask you. So I remember hearing about Marmuka Gorgodze back at Toulon saving you on a bus trip from something.
Yeah, man. So that was like what I was talking about. Like I was in a pretty dark place, so I was doing everything. I was just playing around, abusing, like burning the candle at both ends. Like I was still playing rugby, but I was out often and a lot. Wasn't sleeping much because we were on road trips and flying to this country, going down here. And yeah, I had a little head knock after. I can't remember who we played. Might have been like La Rochelle or someone. And then on the team bus, we just had it was a good win away. So we just got into it. And I ended up having a seizure on the bus. And it was hectic. Wow. I can't remember. So it wasn't that hectic for me, but it was pretty hectic after. Like people, like I think I traumatized. I remember Dylan Armitage being like, bro, like I thought you died. Like it was fucked. So yeah, it was pretty hectic, and that was sort of like the first wake up call where I was like, okay, like I need to rein it in a bit. It was just a bit at that stage. I was like, I just need to rein it in a bit, and then it happened one more time, and then I was like, okay, fuck, all right.
Happened again.
Yeah, it happened again when I was happened again.
From a head knock again, you reckon, or?
Nah, it wasn't a head knock this time. It was just like I got tested. Like they did the full examinations and everything because I was like, why is this happening? Tested me for like epilepsy and everything. It was just literally I was just burnt out. So the first one was, I think, a mixture of like drinking a lot, taking a lot, and the head knock. And then the second time was just I was just so fatigued and just, that's what I mean, burning the candle at both ends that it just happened.
I love that you were like, no, I'll just pull it back a bit. Like that's Ben Cousins' vibes.
That's where I was at, man. My life was like, I'll just, a little bit, just a bit.
Just push the bud out a bit too far there. Yeah.
How did Marmuka come into this? Was he mouth to mouth or something?
I think I put me down on the ground, yeah.
Because there's always chat of him, like, mate, when I've played against him, he is fucking man mountain, isn't he? Like a scary man, but they say he's the loveliest bloke on earth. He's like the friendliest man ever.
Yeah, he's a good man, like a tough man. I think he's been in war and he's seen things that we haven't. I remember one of the biggest compliments I've ever had was like from him, and he's like, I was at his place just having a drink. There's only probably two or three of us left, and we're just having a drink. He's like, you know what? When I first met you, I thought you were like, with your shirts, you were like one of those sissy boys. Like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, and I was like, oh, okay, bro. He's like, but I see now you're a good man. I was like, oh, fuck. Awesome.
Yeah, when Marmuka tells you that.
Has he been in war?
Yeah. He's seen some heavy things.
Probably, yeah, with the Russians.
Georgia, with the Russians.
So, you played for the Wallabies in all three tests against the Lions that winter. Obviously, as you said, you were sort of enjoying life off the pitch, possibly more than on it, perhaps at that stage. We heard you were out partying a couple of days before the test. When you look back on that series, do you think you got the balance wrong, or it was perhaps like a more of a sort of widespread problem across the team?
Well, so in this, like where I am now, I would never do what I was doing. That just wouldn't, like, I don't like doing that stuff anymore. It's very hard for the guys to get me out for a drink now, just because I don't like the scene, that sort of scene anymore. But two, like we were actually on a no drinking like ban, the whole group, so no one was drinking. Like maybe like one or two, like max. And that's why I sort of was upset, because we didn't actually go out and get pissed. We were just, that was our night off Tuesday night. So we were just out and about with my Rebels team played the Lions that night. So yeah, we were out there celebrating with them, but we weren't like pissed or anything like that. We were just enjoying the vibes. So that was why I was a little bit upset when we had the whole press conference. I was like, from my point of view as a kid, I was like, well, Tuesday night's our night that we get to go out late, because Saturday we play and Sunday we have recovery early. That was always my understanding from previous campaigns, was that Tuesday night was the night where you go have fun.
People still don't understand that now, do they? Like if you were to have a day off on a Wednesday and it's still here, and you went out on Tuesday and didn't have a beer and went out with the boys and were out till 1, but if you're sitting up playing Call of Duty till 1 in the morning, there's no difference, is there? Like going out and spending a bit of time with your mates. And that's still, I reckon, the perception now with some of the guys. Like, I know a few of the boys, they love it. Like the night before a game, they'll wander into a town wherever we are and go and have a little look around, just sit in a bar, have a couple of Cokes, and they're there till 11 o'clock and head back. But you can tell the coaches are like, why have they been out? What have they been doing? You're like, relax, man. Like,
yeah,
you do the same thing at home.
Yeah, and that's the big thing's a perception, right? It's what they perceive. And that's what I was doing when I was younger. Like I would never go drink for a game. I loved my rugby too much. But because I was doing that as well, like going out to like 11 to, have a little look, and that was seen as like, oh no, he's gone out and he's gone on the piss and like he's done something wrong. But I think from this point of view where I sit now, like I understand why people get upset about that, because they see that as you not taking it seriously and you're not actually caring about what you're about to do. And anyone would give their, right arm to be in our position to be able to play, for their country. So why does this guy not care? Why is he going out? Like, why isn't he at home at 7:00 drinking water and, in bed early, getting 20 hours sleep? This all depends on the person and how, for me, I used to get nervous. So I would go out and do that stuff because that would settle me down. It would almost make the game feel like it wasn't as important. It was like, oh, I knew inside it was like not do or die, but it was really important. But if I did something like that, it was like, oh, okay, it's just a game tomorrow. We're just here having fun. Whereas if I was at home at the hotel the whole time, I'd just be thinking about the game. What if this happens? What if that happens? Etc. So I see it from both sides. And yeah, now I wouldn't do. Yeah, during a Lions series, it would look very different for me. But then again, I was 22 during that series. Yeah, 22. I was a kid, and but it was a child until I was 27, let alone 21, 22, 23. I had no idea about life. Still don't really, but hey, it's all part of the process. I know a lot more than I did back then.
When you're looking back over some of those incidents, I want to talk about one of them now, where are you able to perceive them in a better light than they happened? For example, if we go with what happened in 2013 at Perth Airport, where you were obviously removed from the airport by the police for being intoxicated, do you look at it as being, now that was actually, you needed that, or it's part of your journey, or you look at it and like, shit, I would do it again?
Yeah, I needed that because I was drowning. Like, that was the first, like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have got shown the door at Oz Rugby. Then I wouldn't have started. I wouldn't have moved away, and I would have just kept drowning. For me, obviously, it's not ideal circumstance to do that. If I was, like I said again, in this place, I would communicate, but I didn't know how to communicate with these guys, these men, because I was still a child. So then I'm like a kid who hasn't got his way. He goes and sooks. So then I'd just go get pissed, and whatever happens when I was pissed, I was just a bit reckless. And the airport thing was played up as well. Like, it was nothing like it was reported. I was on a flight an hour later. I just wasn't allowed to take that one flight. But then again, because I was just switched my phone off. Like, who does that? Fly to Bali, switch my phone off so no one can contact me for a week and a half after that's happened. That's the sort of thing I would do. But it's because I was a child, So yeah, obviously I wouldn't like those circumstances to happen. But that did lead to me moving overseas and then me refinding myself and me getting healthy. So
all happens for a reason, eh?
But you just got put on the net. You just, because the whole thing was kind of weirdly reported here. I mean, here in England, in any airports, of 7 a.m., you've got guys in fancy dress, 6 pints down at the Weatherspoons. But were you just moved on to the next flight? And it was
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I wasn't in a good state. Like, I wasn't in a good state. Like, I was loose. I can't even remember it. Like, that's how loose I was. Like, my missus told me sort of what happened. But yeah, I just, like, there was a muck up in the seats, so we weren't sitting next to each other, and Charlie and I just blew up. And it was like Asia Airline or something flying to Bali, so they were just like, well, this guy's like, how are we going to control him? So they're like, no, he can't come on this flight. And then and it wasn't like I was then the guys, literally the police were just walking past and escorted me to the next desk where I booked another flight. Well, I didn't book it because I wasn't in any state to book it, but my partner did, and then we got the next flight. But then it was reported like I was kicked out of the airport, I was handcuffed, and it wasn't the case. They were actually really good. They looked after me. But it all, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not bitter about any of that stuff because I can look back, and would I do it now? No, I wouldn't. Like I can laugh at it because I was like, what was I thinking? And at the same time, there was a cry for help as well because I was struggling.
So talk us through your move then you played briefly for Toulon before moving back to Australia in 2015 to play for the Reds, ultimately try and get in the Aussie World Cup squad. Talk us about that little sort of transitional time.
Well, it's tough because I wasn't playing the best footy at that stage. I'd torn my MCL. So I came back to Oz to make the World Cup, and then literally first 2 weeks tore my MCL before I'd even played a professional game. So then I was playing the whole season with no MCL because once again I was pushing to make something and just thinking I could just keep my body going long enough to make a World Cup. And then I believe I was still playing decent enough footy to be in the squad, but Czech just literally was like wanting to go a different direction. He wanted a big front line, and he's putting his sort of, it was the first time anyone had put like their 10 in the backfield. So he was playing like, they're pretty much playing pretty much like 3 centers, 2 wingers, and then a 10. So yeah, he didn't want a small winger. He's going with the bigger bodies. Plus, like I said, I wasn't really in the place where I was playing good footy because of my knee. So I came back, and it was just disheartening. But it was a good thing again because it broke my ego a bit. I thought I was going to walk into that sort of World Cup squad from where I'd been sort of in the past in Aussie teams. I thought I was, shooing to be at least in the squad and then work my way to that starting wing spot. And then I was left out altogether. So then I just left Oz because I just didn't want to be there. I was like, fuck this. If they're not going to appreciate me, I'll go back to Toulon. So I did, and
You joined the likes of sort of Quade Cooper, Matt Gitto, Drew Mitchell. We had Nick White on the show. Very funny lad, talking about how dangerous they are on a night out. Was it kind of going back, a baptism of fire for you joining forces with those boys?
Well, that's the thing. They have fun when that guy. I was reckless, so it was like they would at that stage of my career they would probably try to avoid me because I would be bringing them down. Yeah, it was sort of did a full 360. They were, but to be honest, like when I moved back, especially those two in particular, Drew and Gitz were huge for me because they were men, and I was still in that boy mindset, and sort of hung out with them a lot more, and they sort of started showing me sort of what was what, and that was the first time I saw like from guys like I understood like an actual balance of. Okay, like these are actually good men. Like they got their families, they're playing, like they got life outside of it, and they seem to just be at peace in their life. So I hung out with them quite a bit, a lot more than I had in the past, and they were really good for me. To be fair, they're still there. Like I'm still connected with both those guys as well.
Did you enjoy playing rugby in the top 14 in the top Qatars?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed the top 14 for sure. The thing that pissed me off was I couldn't ever really nail down a starting spot at Toulon. We had a gun side, and I was playing some of my best footy in that. Probably 2016 year, going into the 2017 year, that's some of the best footy I played in my life. Like playing for them, but in the big games. Well, they had Lee Halfpenny was playing fullback, which is what sort of I'd play as well. Then Habana was on one wing and Drew was on the other wing, and then in the centers they had Ma and Buster. So it was like, where do I go? So when someone was injured, I just kept moving. I played from 10 to 15 in that back line. Then some games I'd play 10, and then the next game play wing, then play 12, then fullback, then 13. So I was just sort of playing all over, but having a lot of fun with it because they were, great minds of the game. And I learned a lot because I was in a bit better place where I could actually started learning a lot more about rugby instead of just playing off instincts and trying to step people or run around people. I actually learned like how to manipulate the backfield, like when to play this, how to do this, why you're doing these things. I just was asking a lot of questions to these guys, and they all had their own viewpoint and answer. And the way I play now is I've just sort of blended in all I've learned, which is pretty cool.
How did France differ from sort of playing in the Prem or Super Rugby?
Prem was tough, hey. Well, I was up in it was tough. I was playing like 12, 13, but because I was a bit big, like I was playing at the time Sale, well, even now they're playing like a power game. So it didn't really suit my skill set. So I was playing at the line, but like I was taking hit ups. So still playing like at the back and like a shape, but I was used as well. Like I was in the front line and in D, but I was chopping like your Billy Vanapolos, and I was having flankers running me. I was making like 15 tackles a game where I'd come from making 3. My job was to attack. My job now wasn't like, I wasn't the stepper, or like I wasn't as quick. I'd had all these sort of injuries. I was in a transition phase of how do I rebuild my game. So I was the guy on the team who was doing the shit. So I was making like 15 tackles a game. I was taking hit ups against big bodies in the rain. I think in my last year, there was only 2 games where it didn't rain in games of footy. And I was just like, this is a bit. but it was almost like my baptism of fire. Like I got through that. Like I actually hated it, but at the same time I loved it because I had to go to a place that I'd never gone to before. Because it was always like like I said, in Oz, like the sun's out, it's fun, it's skillful footy, you're dancing around and putting through holes. Whereas there it was like, I know I'm going to have to tackle big boys and just chop them consistently all game. I'm going to get belted. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. I remember at one stage I started wearing gloves and then the refs were like, hey, you can't wear that. I was like, what if I cut some of the fingers out? I'm like, it's freezing. Like, how are you guys playing out here? I feel like I got hypothermia. One game I got moved to fullback and I was just like shivering in the back. It's like hailing. And I'm like thinking in my head, like it's just before halftime. I'm like, how am I going to tell Steve I can't go on for the second half? I can't do this. Like, how am I going to tell Steve Diamond and I'm too cold to play? He'll lose it.
What did you make of Steve Diamond, Rabs?
I love Steve. Hey, he was great with me. He was just, he's a bulldog, right? Like he gets what he wants. He didn't really have too much in terms of like the program of like the rugby program. He'd just sort of come out and just oversee it a little bit. But off the field, like he was great to deal with. It was the first time I had a coach that treated me like a man. And then because he treated me that way, like we confided in each other and I held him to a certain level and I was just brutally honest with him. So I helped him with, well, you'd have to ask him, but I helped him with quite a few little things as well. So we had a really good relationship. We ended up living next door to each other. He bought the bloody mansion next door to me. I was living in an apartment. He bought bloody 6 apartments put together. Yeah, it's good. I'll be up on my balcony. Hey, mate. Got about 20 different people working in his yard and his house and whatnot. But yeah, that was good. It was good.
Do you credit him with being a massive part of that sort of the positive resurgence in your career?
Yeah, he helped me in a time when no one else would. Like I didn't have a deal anyway because I got in trouble for cocaine with Ali in Paris. So I got arrested and whatnot. So then no one wanted to touch me. Toulon still wanted me, but no one else. Like I couldn't. I was planning on going back to Oz and then couldn't get back there. So he pretty much gave me a lifeline. He was like, "Look, if you come here and work hard, then we'll be good." So yeah, he did that and he lived up to it. And also he allowed me to work with the guy from SaviourWorld, which was a huge thing at that time because it was like no one was doing that. It's a little bit more, but people are getting into that sort of stuff now. But the program that I was doing was sort of unheard of in rugby. So he gave me the freedom to be able to go and do that because he saw it was actually helping me and I started to get better and I was starting to play better footy. So for him to just let go of the reins and be like, trust me to go off to fly to Iceland to do a training camp.
So how's that work? You went on camps with this guy?
Yeah, training camps. Go up to Edinburgh in the Highlands, go up to the Highlands for a week, go to Iceland for a week, like different training camps. Just you could do like 5 sessions a day.
And what was
everything?
Everything.
Running, grappling, tackling, martial arts. It was just pretty much there to break me. How many times he could break me? And then eventually I stopped getting broken as quickly and sooking as much. And yeah, that was it. I think that was, well, I don't know, like I haven't asked him, but I'm pretty sure that was his plan, was how many times can he break me in one day just to build my resolve in a safe environment. But he was heavily into his martial arts and just a tough guy, like mentally, like just a willpower. I haven't met someone with a willpower like him before.
James, just quickly, can you clear up, because you mentioned it a little bit, what happened with Ali in Paris? Because that was was that misreported, like the Perth airport thing, or is that actually what happened?
Sort of what happened, yeah. It's always never really, if you don't come out and say what happened, it's never really reported the same. So yeah, it was just literally like that was, believe it or not, I was building momentum at that stage, and we were just there with a few of the guys, a big group of us, and we're just having a really good time. And then, Ali went and bought some, and came out, and we got arrested, and then we were in prison for about 2 nights, 3 days. So it was rough. It was fucking terrifying because no one spoke English in there, and my French was decent. His was very poor at that stage, and it was just like raw, man. Like first night, some shat in their hands and rubbed it all over the wall, like. Yeah, ruthless. Like that was another rock bottom experience. So,
bro, I reckon your autobiography will be the first one I'll read.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a fascinating epic.
Well, it's plenty of stories I've never told, so there'll be good ones coming out, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just sorry. There was just a guy just wiping shit everywhere. I'm just still on that.
Yeah.
And what do you just sort of?
There's like meth heads in prisons, man.
It was. Well, we got put in like I don't actually know the name of the prison, but it was like a pretty high one. We got moved to like this high security one because there's so many reporters outside, so they didn't know what was going on. Like they thought we were part of a drug syndicate or something. So yeah, we got moved, and then we were in there with some pretty heavy hitters. But yeah, one of them. I told the story just like 2 months ago, saying, but yeah, one of the nights was just this guy just screaming all night, just the top of his lungs screaming in there. And I'm laying in there like spooned up to Ali, like protecting you big human from these. And then I was just like, I was even considering just getting up and just slapping the guy, and then just I remember 2 seconds later, just somebody just on in there. So yeah, it was pretty raw, pretty ruthless. It was, yeah.
Let's move from that. You rejoined the Reds in 2019, so you could regain your place in the Aussie team after a 6-year hiatus from the Wallabies.
Yeah.
You reclaim your rightful spot. Record-breaking victory against New Zealand. Almighty fucking redemption arc complete. Recall the emotions from that day.
Yeah, it was incredible. After all the work that I'd put in, and it was of my own doing to get myself to the place where I was, but to win each day in a time where I was struggling to win each hour. I remember just everything. So especially after that game in Perth, it was just like, oh yeah. So it was incredible, just surreal to like, I almost had like, it was almost like having flashbacks, like everything I'd been through to get to that place. And then even then, like the funny thing is that was then the beginning. That was like, you'd think that was the ending, like making the World Cup and coming back to Oz. But then it was like, okay, now I'm out on my own and I've got a young team at the Reds and I've got to find a new position because I don't want to be tackling big solies anymore.
I was going to ask you why you changed positions.
No, well, at the World Cup, I was just frustrated, because I couldn't manipulate the game like I wanted to. I felt like there was the elements of my game I really need to work on to move back to 10. But yeah, I was just sort of felt like I wasn't having an impact on the game like I wanted to. And then moving to the Reds, I signed as a center, inside center, which is where I sort of thought I was going to, like, that's probably the position I spent the most amount of time at and sort of I felt I first mastered. And then it was like, no, you're going to move to 10. And yeah, good luck with that. Learn how to kick on the run. And because I hadn't kicked in 3 years as well because of my ankle. So I had to teach myself a new way of kicking, which I did with Dave Aldred. And it was just like, yeah, it was great because it gave me a new challenge and something to put my mind onto instead of just like being happy and content with where I got to. So it was like, yeah, learn how to play 10, face everything that you had before. You're going to have heaps of people tell you, you shit at 10 and he shouldn't be playing 10. And so that was all part of it, was just soak that all up and go back to the drawing board and just really learn how to play that position. Because I knew had a good idea about it, but what I know now from where I was 2 years ago is like it's a complete different player, let alone what I'm about to learn. I can imagine guys who've been in the position for 10, 15 years.
You've got England coming to Australia in July. Aussies of late, pretty bad record against them. How are you planning to turn that?
Oh, like the past is a past. Like for me, I'm not thinking about previous games at all. Obviously, the last time we played them, I felt like we just didn't fire any shots at all. So I believe it'll be a very different contest here on our home soil in good conditions. But that's what I mean. Teams change consistently now. Like there's squad changes, different players in different positions. So from my point of view, it's just first getting into the team. Like we've still got Super Rugby to hopefully the guys get through the quarters, and then I'll be back for the semis the week after. But yeah, moving on to sort of test footy, it's just we're going to come in. It's going to all happen pretty quickly. I think we're only together 2 weeks before the first game, so it's just getting in, getting the group bonded, and changing over, I guess, the call sheet from the Reds calls and the way we play there to the Wallabies calls and how we've adapted the game. I'm actually going down to the Gold Coast tomorrow to see Rens and have a little chat with them about sort of new shapes and where we're at as a group and do some training down there. So it'll be interesting to see where they see the games evolve to and where we're going to focus on against the English.
Tell them I miss him.
I will do.
James, is your hammy fixed? Will it be fixed, do you think, by the tour?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to have played this week. It was just literally a small little grade 1 tear. Just so yeah, I'll be playing next weekend if we make it through. When we make it through, I should say.
What do you make of your fellow Aussie Eddie Jones and the job he's done for England?
I think he's done a really good job. To be fair, like there's videos on him all the time. There's comments all the time, and I think he's very calculated and very smart with sort of what he puts out there and what he wants people to pick up on. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. So I know he's got a good mind, and there's quite a few guys in our camp, in our group, have actually worked with him before. So we have a good understanding of how he thinks. So yeah, it'll be a good contest.
You've worked under some incredible coaches for club and country. Who for you has been the best and why?
It's tough. Like they've all brought different things. One of my fondest sort of coaches has been Robbie Deans, because he was the first guy who sort of I had a lot of I was still a boy sort of when I met him, and he put a lot of time into me and a lot of energy, because at that stage as well, I'd only been playing rugby for 2 years when I made that first Wallabies squad. I'd been playing rugby league, so I still didn't really even understand the game. And then I went straight to the force and was still learning on the run. But it wasn't until he sort of sat down with me, and I didn't know half the rules, I reckon. That's how crazy it was. Not that I know all the rules now, they bloody change all the time. And but yeah, he put a lot of energy into me, off the field and on the field. So got a lot of fun memories of him.
Who's the best player that you've ever played with or against?
So specimen wise, someone who can make something out of nothing, Josh Tuisava.
Oh, but what about your boy Taniala?
Oh, but he's a forward. I'm talking back. So,
the Gary Jack.
Nala is a sharp specimen as well. The best thing about Nala is I'll just look, if there's a moment in the game, I'll look at him. I'll be like, bro, fucking need something from your hair, and he'll just do something for me. Whether it's a scrum penalty, or he'll make a break and run 50, or he'll put a hit on, get us the ball back. He's just that sort of player. But yeah, Tuisava back in 2016-17, he just couldn't be touched. But as complete players of the game, I'd say Matt Giddo and Ma Nono for sure. I think Ma just had everything. He could do everything. There wasn't one thing he couldn't do, and he could just turn her on as well when you needed him in big moments. And then Gitz was just his understanding of the game and just his foot speed, and he's just a fighter as well. For a little fella, he goes hard. And you can just rely on him. You just always know he's going to do the job.
That's sadly all the time we've got left for this week. A huge thank you to Ryan and to Max as always. And James, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And best of luck with obviously the rest of the Super Rugby season, and then England coming to tour. And from your perspective, hoping to get one over the ponds. But thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers, Rabs. Legend, man.
What a man. What a man. I'm coming to the hinterland.
Some reminiscing there.
I'm coming for the retreats, big fella.
That's it.
I'm coming down under. We're going to get weird on some hypoxic breath.
I'll be there.
We'll get you doing some shrugs. Fucking
stop body shaming me, man.
Did it.